I'm Emily and welcome to my channel, The Organised Mum Lifestyle, where I share with you mum hacks and organisational tips so that you can go on the adventures and make the most of your little ones at the age that they are. I have Monty and Matilda, who are 1 and 3, and my husband and I both work full time but love going on wonderful adventures in the beautiful country that we live in, that is New Zealand. So here in New Zealand, we're heading into winter, which will be July. It is now May, and we're starting to think about the things that we can do with the little ones during the winter. We love our caravan. We can go away, we put the heating on, we get the power set up, so it's no problem. But we don't tend to go away as much. We do a few day trips, and we live in Auckland. So I wanted to share with you some day trips and things that you can do with toddlers in and around Auckland. If you're looking at coming on holiday here, they're great tips as well. If you live here locally, they're fantastic day trips. Last week it was Mother's Day here in New Zealand, and Mummy got to choose what we do for the day. We happened to be at home this weekend, just couldn't make it work with work commitments, so I chose to go to Auckland Zoo. On this trip, we picked up our lanyard membership passes. We hadn't been for about 2 years, so it'd been a while since we last visited, but we said we were going to go regularly. We've now got Tilly's walking, she's a little bit older and she loves animals. Monty loves diggers and engineering, but he's also old enough to be able to run around the zoo and start enjoying them as well. So really excited to go because since we last went, they had the whole new tiger enclosure. They've done a really good job of the enclosures and making the enclosure as close to the natural environment as possible. They seem very happy. They've got little walkthroughs, and if you're lucky, the tiger might walk over your head on the bridges. But what's great is he was just eating. That's okay. We're going to come back another day and we'll see them in a different mode later on. We also saw alligators in this really cool tank. I was pleasantly surprised. So there was a glass screen where you were looking into the side of the river. I think it was meant to be Sumatra. I'm not giving you a zoology lesson here. Tilly loved the fish. But what was really cool were the alligators. They were above you. So Monty didn't realise they were there until he looked up and then suddenly saw an alligator. I was really impressed by that setup and part of the new section of the tigers area. I was also really impressed by the lions. The lions were really active that morning and came right up to the glass. Wow, terrifying for the kids, but really exciting to see lions that close. Pretty cool for toddlers was they had a really cool tunnels which opened up into the meerkats so they could see in. My kids were a little small to look up for the meerkats, but they were so impressed by having some caves and tunnels to run through. So I was quite impressed with those little touches that they got for the younger kids. I remember from my previous visit 2 years ago, they also have the orangutans. Now the orangutans look like they're roaming free. They're on ropes and they can actually go above your head on the public walkway. When you're in the cafe, they're almost right up next to you. They're not, they are in an environment and within an enclosure, but it's just so close. It just makes you think, wow, what if they fell out? But they're actually pretty safe. Similar to the lion, we really liked the leopard that just was prowling around right up to the window, really active, went right up to the kids. And with our children being so young, we've only got a few hours before nap time is needed or they get tired. And that's one of the reasons we bought the annual pass. So that was all we saw on that trip. So with the annual passes, we can come back another day and see a lot more. So hopefully I'll share with you our next trip that we go to the zoo. I can highly recommend the zoo and the playground right at the end. And if they haven't run out of energy running around, they're going to finish it off by going on the slides and playing around. Another place to take toddlers in Auckland is Snow Planet. It's up in the north of Auckland near Silverdale, so it's not too far a drive from the city. It's been closed for the last 6 months actually. This is May 2023, so they've been renovating it and putting a new roof on, and we've been really curious to go and have a look. We went to their winter wonderland, so they're a bit too small for skiing lessons. So in the winter wonderland, you can run around in the igloos, go down on the sledge, on a toboggan, down the slides. You can play around throwing snowballs, climbing in that little houses, down little slides, and it is designed for smaller children. Unfortunately, we were a little bit disappointed about it this time. I think because it had been closed, they had quite icy conditions. I actually put in a little bit of a complaint afterwards and I said I felt they weren't able to throw the snowballs as your website showed and that the children slipped over quite a lot. And I actually got a response saying, yes, we do agree with you. It is icy. We are currently building up the snow. So that was positive feedback from them. Another tip also with going to Snow Planet is I paid for adults. I paid for 2 adults, 1 child, and the other child was free because she was under the age of 2. And I felt it was a very expensive activity for 1 hour. Compare it to something like MOTAT or Auckland Zoo, where it's a full day and you don't even achieve everything in the day. You get 1 hour, and I think it was $98 it came to. So I gave feedback and as part of my complaint, and I said that I didn't feel it was good value. I didn't get to have many goes. I certainly wasn't enjoying it on my own. I was constantly watching the children so they didn't fall over. And the feedback was that we should have paid for spectators, and they actually gave us a voucher to pay for the difference. So fair on them. Well, hopefully they've improved the snow so we can throw snowballs and we'll have an enjoyable time. So that was just feedback. It is well worth it. Buy yourself a spectator pass. Tilly wasn't overly impressed. She is nearly 2. She was free, which probably says to me that maybe under the age of 2 is too small. She just kept falling over and got really annoyed, and then decided she was cold and annoyed and refused to do everything. So that put me out because I sat with Tilly. If you need to get coats, shoes and warm clothing and hats, you can do the clothing hire as well. We hired a couple of pairs of gloves for the kids. So that's Snow Planet in Auckland up near Silverdale. Another activity to do during the winter with toddlers is MOTAT, the Museum of Transport and Technology. A really lovely place. Owned by the council, it's on the same site as Auckland Zoo. You can actually do both of them in the same day, buying a multiple pass, but you won't manage both of them in the same day with small children. It's really exciting. Monty loves it. We've been annual pass members for quite a while, and we've gone probably 4 or 5 times a year for the last 2 or 3 years. And he loves trains, he loves diggers, he loves anything engineering-y, cars. It's also got science and some really interactive science areas where you can wind things up and things happen, and interactive technology. There's a lot of stuff for older kids as well. I would probably say there's not that much for smaller kids if you think about it, but for the running around, for the seeing, for the indoor, outdoor, it's quite a lot of stuff. It's not great if it's a rainy day with small children, although there's a cool area called MOTAT, which is a soft play, which is inside. Unfortunately, for the majority of the time that we were members, it was closed because it was COVID when we were members. We haven't been now for about 6 months, and COVID regulations have finally lifted, so I'd like to think they've reopened. On the few times that MOTAT was open, it was fantastic. But it is a bit of an indoor-outdoor, so it's good for a cold day, but maybe not a rainy day. We love the miniature train room. It's a miniature version of the New Zealand trunk line, and the train runs round and they can press the buttons and see the trains moving. Monty adores it. Very often we'd go on a Saturday and we'd run straight to there to go and watch the trains. Really nice because volunteers have put this together and they maintain it, and they're so passionate, and the intricacy of what they do is so cool. The adults will enjoy it as well. In comparison to the zoo on the same site, I often find it's not as busy. So if it is, say, school holidays or a particularly busy public holiday, if you're going to choose between the zoo and MOTAT, I would recommend MOTAT because it won't be as busy, and parking does seem to be a little bit easier. The other reason we're members is they do event days. So they do live days. Once a month, they'll do something exciting, whether that's a steam train, whether that's a digger day or a science day. They'll do live days, which as a pass member, you get access to and you don't have to pay for. And we've been to quite a few steam train days where they've got a live track out the back, and that's been really exciting. They've also got an aviation museum and a huge planes, recently renovated the hall, and that's a really unique, I'd say, particularly unique for New Zealand. It's over 2 sites and you can easily spend 2 or 3 days there. My next recommendation is Auckland Museum. Now this is completely free inside the city near Parnell. Beautiful War Memorial Museum. I've spent many hours there before children, but now even with children, it's a fantastic place. You wouldn't spend a whole day there with children. We usually spend about 2 hours. Yes, they can do a little bit of running around, but they get some good interactive areas. There's the volcano room. There's also a whole floor made for children where they can do dress up, and it's interactive, and there's lots of really well thought out museum exhibits. Perfect for a rainy day. This is the one you want to go to when it's raining outside. Really lovely cafe as well. They made a real effort with lunch for the children with a whole little children's menu. I do recommend it. It's not somewhere we go regularly, but it is somewhere on them really cold, rainy days where you want to take the children, and you can enjoy it as well and learn something about Auckland and New Zealand's history. My final one is Butterfly Creek. Now, it's been a year since we last went here, and just looking at the footage, I can't wait to go again. It's so beautiful. I can't really explain it. It's a petting zoo meets butterflies, insects, meets dinosaurs. It's really quirky, and I was very surprised and I really enjoyed it. It is quite a way away, it's down by the airport, but it does mean when you get there, there's loads of parking, well connected with the motorways to get there. The dinosaurs are brilliant. Whose children don't like dinosaurs? They're scary, they're exciting, they're big. They've got a whole area where you're walking through and you can see the dinosaurs with the dinosaurs' babies. It's very unique and very strange. You also go through the butterflies in the butterfly rooms, but you also then go through to a petting zoo where you can sit on the tractors, you can stroke the animals, which is really popular with both my children. And they've also got crocodiles. The strangeness and the diversity makes it well worth a visit. And to finish it off, they've even got train rides. So a train runs around the middle, which is pretty cool for the kids. They can certainly enjoy that. Good one for a nice day because it is indoor outdoor with the majority outdoor. I think we went and it was fairly warm, but it was showers, so you're sort of running inside the petting zoo or running inside the buildings in between showers, and a really nice cafe in the middle. I hope you found that video helpful. Looking for things to do in the winter with toddlers is always challenging. These 5 suggestions we go to regularly. We're members for a reason. We like to revisit these places. We've been to lots of different ones, but we mainly use these in the winter. I'll do you a video for the summer because it's a little bit different because we just love our beaches and our outdoors, particularly because Auckland and New Zealand is so beautiful. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.